Hello, Skelevaderites. I did it. All right, so how's everybody doing tonight? Today, what am I talking about tonight? Let's see here. We've got my buddy's customs, which I believe is Gamerbudd. Yes, good to see you here. Fantastic. Master Versal Toy Hunter. Hello, Eldor. Good to see you. Yes, indeed. And JMax77, good to see you. That's right. Good to see you. And Ostradamus Toys. Hey, everyone. Ready to see that wacky weirdo from Skelevator's Dungeon of Curiosities we see tonight? I guess it is tonight for those on the East Coast, 6 p.m., right? Fantastic. Vintage Motu, Bobby. Hey, good to see you here, buddy. Yeah, this is great. So, all right, there's a lot of people talking to each other in the chat. We've got Payne's Toy Samples. Good to see you. Welcome back. All right. And we've got Julia Honer here. Good to see you. All right. Fantastic. And Brick Something, of course. Wonderful for you to be here. And all right. So I believe I covered everybody. Hopefully, I'm going to check back and see if I missed anybody here. It looks like I did not. And I'm going to keep an eye on the chat today. If you have any comments or thoughts about what I'm going to share today, feel free to throw those comments into the chat, of course. Number one thing I want to say, all right, here, look at this. Gregory Alexander, good to see you. What are we talking about today? You are about to find out, my friend. You're about to find out. All right, so you can change your, oh, I see. Yes, you can change your name. That's right. Cool. So today we're talking about something special. I usually am going to just pick one figure and talk about that one figure and focus on that. But because sometimes there will be a figure associated with other figures. Now, last week I showed Skeletor from New Adventures Skeletor from the Classics line, which is the Space Mutant Skeletor. And I could have very easily gone and shown all the Skeletors along with that. But of course, I decided against that because that would be, you know me, that would be a lot of Skeletors. But what I'm going to do today, because I have a very small collection of this particular line, I'm going to talk about a character that is, there are multiple versions of this character underneath this umbrella of characters. I know I'm not telling you exactly what it is yet. I'm excited to share it with you all. My buddy, wherever he goes, I want to go. That's right, Brick. I want to thank Brick Something. I want to thank Gamerbudd, or as we see him here, as My Buddy's Customs. I also want to thank MotuOriginsCork, and I also want to thank Carol Geis. All of you are patrons of the Skelevator channel, and I really appreciate your patronage. It's fantastic. Thank you so much. If you are interested in becoming a patron of the Skelevator channel and contributing a little bit of dough here and there to the Skelevator endeavors, future Skelevator endeavors, there's a little link down below for the Patreon account for me, for Skelevator. Now, I want to say that not contributing to the Patreon is perfectly fine, of course. You know, don't feel that there's a certain, just because you enjoy the content of this channel, there's not a responsibility to do that. You being here, you watching the channel, that is enough for me. That makes me extremely happy and makes this whole endeavor worth it. Let's see here. Gregory Alexander says, please say Masterverse Prince Adam. Nope, that doesn't exist yet, but maybe it will exist soon. And I'm checking to see if that's just out of context. No. Brick Something, we are patrons of the arts. You awesome artists, you. Now, I do want to say also, Brick Something, you have something in the mail. It should be getting to you early this week, probably on Tuesday. And MotuOriginsCork, you have something in the mail headed your way, but because you're way out in Ireland, it might be a bit before it reaches you. Yeah, brick something. Keep an eye out for that little gift. If you become a patron, Patreon member of the Skelevator channel, I do like to send things your way. Carol, something's coming your way too. Gregory. Okay, Revelation Castle Grayskull. That's right. Absolutely. Man, I wish. Yeah, Brick, I'm mind blown. I appreciate that. It's just a little something, but hopefully you'll like it. That's right, Master Versal Toy Hunter. Eldor, yes, smash that like button, people, because like button likes you. Yes, of course, if you click like on this video, it says a lot to YouTube and the algorithm and whatnot, whatever. But yes, thank you so much for reminding people, Eldor. I appreciate that. Man, I know, Oz. It's awesome seeing so many people here today. Fantastic. Yeah, this is great. Now, is 3 p.m. on a Sunday a better time for all of you? Let me know what works best for you. I had to go do a grocery run this morning, and I was like, I have to do that, and so I moved it up this afternoon. Maybe it's a blessing in disguise. In the chat below, please let me know if you'd prefer early afternoon or early evening, depending on where you are in the United States. If 3 p.m. my time works best for you, wherever you are, let me know. Gregory says yes. Also, Gregory said a nice thing here. Either way, I enjoy your channel. Thank you so much. So we got one vote for this period of time on a Sunday. Vintage Motu Bobby says, I'm good either time. That's very cool. All right. Good with whatever. I'm a captive audience. Cool. That's great. Thank you so much, Payne's Toy Samples. I really appreciate it. And I'm really glad you're here. So let me have a sip of my water because I'm just said a lot of things and I got to refresh my vocal cords. This time is great. I sneak in at work if you do it earlier. Ah, I see. Okay. So you'll come either way. I appreciate it. Unless it's like midnight, then I'm sleeping because adulting. Yeah. Payne's Toy Samples. Absolutely. I have a lot of friends on YouTube that share videos when it's fairly late my time that I can't really join in because I'm in bed. Man, I'm 46. I'm in bed and I got kids and I'm in bed usually around 9 p.m. at the very latest, if not asleep by 9 p.m. my time. So yeah, I get that because adulting, absolutely. All right. Oh, that's great. Gamerbudd subscribers are my buddies. That's awesome. Now Oz is gonna make fun of me. Them old man problems. That's right. That's right, Oz. Okay, so today, I know it'd be hard to guess, so I'm not gonna make you all guess. I'm just gonna jump right into it. The theme of today's weekly weirdo is gremlins. And there's a reason why I chose gremlins. Number one, I don't have a lot of them, so it won't take up too much time. And I can do it all in one fell swoop in today's episode. But also because I just recorded another episode of Cambridge and with Sean, which is a podcast that I'm a part of with my friend Mark from the Wake Up Heavy podcast. I talk a little bit about gremlins in the forthcoming episode, which will air early February. So it's on my mind. I'm thinking about it, and I've been looking at. I've been moving in my toy area past couple of days, and I just thought, this is a good time to maybe talk about my gremlins. All right, folks. So let's jump into it. Now, the first thing I want to say is how I got started with gremlins, and I 1980 when the movie came out, I was super into it. Had no trepidations. Very excited. That's right. Wait, I got to show this. Gamerbudd, make sure you drink your prune juice in the morning and ensure your lunch so you're regular. That's right. At my age, I got to worry about that. Definitely. Now, Gregory is saying there's a whole new movie coming. I don't know about a new movie coming with Gremlins, but I do know there's an animated series on its way. But if there's a new movie coming, Gregory, I'm excited about that. That's all right, Alf Inflict. It's good to see you here. It doesn't matter if you're running late. This talk might go for a while today. Hopefully not too long, but it'll be a little longer than last week's show. Yeah, it's good to see you here. All right. So how's my reception going, folks? I keep seeing the screen blink a little bit. I just want to make sure I'm coming through clearly on your end. Breaking up, let me know in the comments. And also, if you're chiming in, I'm asking people in the comments to see if this time works better for you all. Judging by the amount of people attending, I think it does. So he says, I heard about it about a month ago. All right, well, I'm going to start doing my research. Giraffe, hey, good to see you. Trenchcoat Flasher Gremlin. Now, so I don't have that one. I've been thinking about getting it. I want to say this about NECA. I really appreciate what they make. We have to be careful with those figures. We all know we have to be careful with the NECA figures. But I do want to say that the figures are a little bit on the pricier side for my standards. So I can't get all the Gremlins. And that's why taking this episode today to talk about what I do have is going to be good. All right, so Oz says it's coming in good clear. That's good. Brick something good over here. Fantastic. But yeah, it's good to see you here, Giraffe. Did you hear me at the beginning, Giraffe? Hello, Skelevaderites. So for those of you who don't know, Giraffe came up with Skelevaderites, and we love it. I love it, so I'm sticking with it. All right. Yeah, I got to get that trench coat gremlin. Okay, so in the 80s when Gremlins came out, LJN, I believe I got the name right, LJN Toys had the rights for those figures. They came out with little PVC mini figures. They came out with bendies, like bendable figures that were a little bit rubbery. And they also came out with something never been able to find at a reasonable price, but a 12-inch tall, I believe he's 12 inches tall, pipe that had articulated arms, articulated legs, and a real mohawk. And I definitely wanted to have him as a kid. He was like on on every Christmas list, I think from 1984 to 1986, probably. Of course, I could never find him. But when I was doing some eBay shopping near the beginning of the pandemic, I got that nostalgic itch to get some LGN Gremlin stuff. I decided on one thing because I found a really good quality version of this. But the Stripe bendable figure from LGN Toys, and he's in pretty good shape. He's a little dusty right now, but usually what happens with these figures, as you know, folks that do collect toys, the rubbery bendy figures do start to disintegrate over time. Now, I found him on card for a very affordable price, but the card was falling apart. So I took him out of the card, and I'm just in love with this figure. I mean, look at the face sculpt on this. Super simplified, very simple, very cool. He's got a lot of personality. But what I loved about the giant plastic version of Stripe was that he had a real mohawk. And some of these days, I'm going to save up and probably get one of those because I absolutely want it. Stripe is one of my favorite Gremlins, along with Gizmo. Gizmo, they're both the iconic, Gremlins from the original movie, and this one is one that I absolutely love. And he's from 1984, and that to me is very exciting. Very happy to have something from the era. I used to have the PVC, the little tiny mini PVC figures, but those got lost in time. Julia Honer said, cool. All right, it's awesome. Yes, so let's see that. Oh yeah, Brick, that 12-inch Gremlin is amazing. Think of it. My recent Trolls pickups remind me of that. Yes, absolutely. Those Mythic Legions. You're talking about the Mythic Legions Trolls, definitely. Now, toys from the 80s, of course, are simpler in design, and those of you who know me know that I sometimes prefer that with figures. In fact, I prefer the uniqueness of the flawed figure or the flawed toy. So, so I definitely want to find that original 12-inch stripe someday, especially if I could find him with an intact mohawk, because that's a little bit difficult. And yes, Oz said something here somewhere about doing a custom. Yeah, that would be really cool. Yeah, Giraffe Stripe, the misunderstood gremlin. Yeah, he's just trying to extend the species. He's trying to sense of this new situation he's in. I do believe that he is misunderstood for sure. Payne's toy samples, LJN tried, but those bendables are not my favorite, but the sculpt for the rubber is nice, and painting appears to be well executed. Absolutely. The sculpt is okay. It's a little wonky. The paint is fantastic. The rubber condition of this particular figure is good. I've seen them in pretty bad shape before, but I'm really happy to have this stripe. So along those lines, now I'm going to get to the NECA stripe in just a little bit, but I want to talk about what I was able to find over the years, because I've been collecting Gremlins for a long time, but only one here and there. So it was about 2006, I think, 2006, when I first started seeing NECA Gremlins figures in Toys R Us. And at the time, I was, of course, struggling to make ends meet. I didn't have, cash to just spend willy-nilly on action figures. And I know you can all identify with that. Alpha Inflict, remember the Warner Brothers store? They had big Gremlin statues in random places in the store. I always wanted to ask them to sell me one. I forgot about the Warner Brothers store. That's a really good throwback. All right, so the very first fancy Gremlin figure I got after becoming, at the very beginnings, very, very, very beginnings, when I only had a few things of my life as a toy collector, was George. George, I got him in about 2006, maybe 2007, from a Toys R Us in Alhambra, California, which is down near Los Angeles. Of course, that Toys R Us is long gone. You all know that story. But I got George because I was a huge fan of Gremlins 1, of course, but I was also a big fan of Gremlins 2, and I fought with a lot of friends about the fact that I liked that movie, because a lot of folks, it's not the most well-loved or beloved Gremlins movie of the two. But I really fell in love with George in the movie, first because he is definitely reminiscent of Edward G. Robinson, which is a gangster actor. He played gangster characters in Hollywood films in the 40s. Edward G. Robinson. The lips and the squinty eyes is definitely reminiscent of that. And he was a cigar smoker, which I thought was hilarious in Gremlins 2. But Gremlins 2 made a lot of references to itself as being part of the Gremlins franchise, but also a lot of film references and a lot of culture references. Now, if you watch Gremlins 2, you know that George, is predominantly paired up with Lenny. Their names were never mentioned in the movie, but when you when you did a little research, as being, I did a little research, to being the nerd that I am, and I figured out that the bigger, dumber gremlin, Lenny, was named Lenny, and this was named George, and that definitely reminded me of the book Of Mice and Men, where you had George, which was the smarter one, and Lenny, which was the disabled one, the misunderstood one. Uh-oh, I lost connection here. I lost connection there for a little bit. Am I still good, folks? Am I still good? Oh yeah, so this is George, and I haven't gotten Lenny, but I do want to get Lenny. I have seen him on the shelf recently, and Lenny is very tempting because you can't have George without Lenny, especially if you know Of Mice and Men. But this is my little Edward G. Robinson gremlin. Love this guy. I love that these gremlins, these gremlin figures, their eyes move. A little knob back here, you can make their eyes move. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, but I love that. The next one I found was in about 2016 at a store here in Clovis. Oz says, keep going. It's good. All right, awesome. Let's see here. Man, in the 90s, I got a whole set of them, both in Mogwai form and Gremlin form from Suncoast Video. They were just mini statue figures. Oh, that's so good. That's so good that your mom still has them on the mantle. That's fantastic, Alf. That is fantastic. Definitely hold on to those. Don't let them go away. The next one I was able to get is also a Gremlins 2 figure. Got him in 2013. Yeah, and you got to keep the gremlins away from the rabbits. It's absolutely true. And this is another NECA figure. This is Stripe. So if you know Gremlins 2, you know that they couldn't bring not Stripe, this Mohawk. They bring Stripe back from the first Gremlins because he died. He got killed at the end in that classic goopy fountain scene at the end of Gremlins 1. But I want to stick with the Mohawk theme with this guy. So Mohawk is his name in Gremlins 2. He's the villain. He eventually mutates into a spider gremlin, which is also one of my favorite versions of this figure. I missed the boat on the spider gremlin. He's to get at a reasonable price. But I was able to finally get this guy when I did see him at a store. He must have been, he was a fairly reasonable price, about $20, pretty good. But I love Mohawk. He's a great villain from the second Gremlins movie. Fantastic. Hey, Mega J, good to see you. So I want to say that that Mohawk turned into the Bat Gremlin, but I did watch it not too long ago, and he definitely was the one that turned into the Spider one. And I would love. I think that NECA came out with a Bat Gremlin version of this, a version of the Bat Gremlin as a figure. I know they did the Spider Gremlin, but I haven't been able to find them at a reasonable price. But I love Mohawk. He's fantastic. Alpha Inflict, the Spider Gremlin and Gargoyle Gremlin, that was the Sun Resistant. Those are definite faves. Yeah, so those of you who haven't seen Gremlins 2, definitely go watch it. It's not a perfect movie by any means, but there are classic moments. The Bat Gremlin gets injected with sunscreen, so that this experimental the Clamp company is a joke on the Trump company, which makes it even funnier today. But yeah, the Clamp company has an experimental lab on their top floor or upper floor, and they're working on an experimental permanent sunblock, which you inject, and they inject the Bat Gremlin with this. He goes out there. That means that the Gremlin can actually go out into the sunlight, and if you know Gremlins, they can't do that. Alpha Inflict. Oh, Bobby, You got to see Gremlins too, man. I know you have. I know you have an appreciation for the campy stuff. So I know you'd get a kick out of it. And also, it still holds up. There's the Hulk Hogan. He shows up in it. I mean, at that moment where where Hulk Hogan shows up, it breaks the fourth wall. You're watching the movie. The Gremlins get into the projection booth. They destroy the film. And suddenly we are in the audience watching the Gremlins 2 movie with the audience in the theater. And Hulk Hogan stands up and yells at the projection booth. And finally the movie starts again. I mean, like, that's so crazy. That is so crazy. And Bobby, yeah, as Oz is pointing out here, Christopher Lee, if you watch, the Hammer films, Christopher Lee was the Dracula from the Hammer films. And also, he was a Sith Lord too. He was the chief scientist. But yeah, and you got to see it for Phoebe Cates. All right, so Mohawk Gremlin, when I saw him on the shelf, I had to get him. And I knew that NECA had not come out with a stripe. So not too long ago, Grandpa Munster too. Yes, that's right. Well, the actor that plays him definitely looks like Grandpa Munster. It's a different actor. But yeah, he definitely went off of Grandpa Munster. Now, there is the first Gomez Adams, the actor who played the first Gomez Adams in the Addams Family TV series, is the janitor in Gremlins 2. I mean, it is chock full of crazy film references. Yes, Gamerbudd, Patreon, Gremlins 2 watch together. I think it's a very good idea. And I know I'm not very good at the tech stuff, but I know Oz and we can work together and make that happen. So when I found out that because I always wanted the 12-inch LJN stripe, when I found out that NECA was coming out with the stripe figure, I absolutely had to get him. I've been hesitant to get the Santa version just because I already have him, and it's hard for me to just buy another stripe. But I absolutely love this figure. Of all the Gremlins figures, and I haven't even gotten to Gizmo yet, he's coming, but of all the Gremlins figures that I have, this by far is my favorite. This looks exactly like Stripe from the film, including the asymmetrical lips or mouth. I mean, this guy looks like he's straight out of the movie. Of course, the mohawk, which is fantastic, but Stripe looks fantastic. And he came with a skateboard and a chainsaw and a machine gun. I mean, no, Mohawk came with a machine gun. They did come with a chainsaw and a blade from a circular saw, which if you watch Gremlins 1, you know about all that happening in that department store toward the end of the movie. Yes, and and we also need to do a Planet of the Apes watch together for sure with Bobby. Absolutely. Bobby, you hear, man? Come on. We got to do that. Love Planet of the Apes. So yeah, this guy is one of my top 10 favorite figures from my collection. This Stripe does everything for me. He gives me what I want from the nostalgia of the first Gremlins movie, which, by the way, our family watches every holiday season because it's like one of the best Christmas or holiday movies you can watch. Yeah, this guy makes me very, very happy. Right now, without having that 12-inch stripe, this guy, with his articulation, makes me very, very happy. Makes me a happy, happy boy. And yes to apes. Absolutely, Brick Something. Hey, there we go, Alf. To me, Gremlins will always be a Christmas holiday movie. Absolutely. I'm glad you see it that way. I brought that up at work not too long ago, and people were like, "What?" And I was actually surprised how many people hadn't seen Gremlins. It's that to me is surprising. To me, it feels like it'd be as if someone hadn't seen Star Wars. Like that to me is just mind blowing. yeah, Gremlins are definitely a part of pop culture, definitely part of our pop culture language, at least for me. And this Gremlins is a great movie for the holiday season. All right, so the last one is my most recent purchase. I've already talked about him on this channel, but I definitely included him today because the theme is of my weekly weirdos today is Gremlins. And this Gizmo, if any of you know Gizmo, you know that this is the Gremlins 2. Oh, look at his eyes. There we go. This is the Gremlins 2 Gizmo. The Gremlins 2 Gizmo's face was a little bit like more cartoony and a little less realistic, I suppose is the best way to put it. I still love, he's also the most adorable version of Gizmo. I mean, the Gizmo from the original film is extremely adorable, but the Gremlins 2 version, he's really cute. Look at that smile, so adorable. Yeah, when I finally saw that they re-released a single figure non-deluxe from NECA, I was excited because he was only about 22 bucks. I was very excited to get Gizmo at a reasonable price. Now, NECA, if you're listening, we need more of the single carded figures for those of us that might not be willing to spend $32 to $35 on a Gremlin. So, and I really want to get that brain Gremlin. He's the smart Gremlin from Gremlins 2, but he's a little too pricey, and I can never seem to find. I did run across a couple of Alien NECA figures. It was really Ash. Ash was the only one that was on sale for about 15 bucks. I never see NECA figures on sale. Yeah, Master Versal Toy Hunter. Eldor, his eyes move. So these little guys, their eyes do move. There's like a little lever in the back. I love that this guy came out in 2006-ish, maybe 2005, 2006, maybe 2007. And this one came out in 2022. And they stuck with the same molds, the same articulation, same magical eye moving feature. Fantastic. So I chose Gremlins for today's weekly weirdo. Hey Ray, good to see you. Welcome. We're coming close to the end, but be sure to rewatch this episode. Where is Gremlins streaming? Anyone know off the top of their head? Looks like, yes, HBO has a deal with Warner Brothers, as Oz says. I hope that they have Gremlins 2 streaming. I can say for sure, let's see, Brick Something. I know you can get Gremlins and Gremlins 2 really, really cheap on DVD. If you don't care about the Blu-ray stuff, it's definitely worth getting on Amazon for a really reasonable price. I know you can get them cheap. Now, it might change when the animated show comes out, and I'm definitely going to look into that potential Gremlins movie that could be coming out. Hey, we got Nolan here. Nolan, sorry I missed you in the chat. Gizmo is the best. Absolutely. Love Gizmo. So anyways, so we've got Gremlins this week. We talked about the Space Mutant Skeletories right back here right now last week, and there's a lot more to talk about. As you all know, I'm reducing my purchases of new things, but I know I'm going to run across something every once in a while. If it's a Gremlin, if it's a Muppet, if it's a Masters of the Universe figure, if it's a vintage Star Wars, I'm definitely going to have a hard time resisting, but I'm really trying to reduce my spending. So appreciate you all tuning in to my weekly weirdo, where I'm going to be showcasing things that I already have. I've got something coming in from Big Bad Toy Store that's showing up tomorrow, apparently. I was checking out FedEx a little while ago. My next Masterverse purchases that I bought before the new year, or before Christmas actually, they should be coming tomorrow or the next day. I'm very excited. I'll be talking about those during our next Toy Frenzy episode. Thank you, Bobby. Thank you, Bobby. Really appreciate you being here. Let's see. If you sign in the Patreon, we can set up a watch party on the Frenzied Discord. So yeah, we will set up, for those of you that do want to watch Gremlins 2 with us, Oz and I will work together. We'll get Bobby involved. We're definitely going to do a Bobby hosted Planet of the Apes eventually, but we'll do a Discord viewing for the Toy Frenzy patrons on our Discord, and we'll watch it together. We'll figure out a way to make it work. So if there's any other incentive you're looking for to becoming a Patreon of my channel, of Vintage Motus or Ostradamus Toys channel, that gets you into the Frenzied Discord. I've been talking about Patreon a lot today. I don't mean to do that. Skyfall, good to see you. Welcome to it. All right, so he said, if any of you ever run across affordable LJN Gremlins toys, especially that 12-inch stripe, be sure to message me on Instagram or on Facebook, or you can just go to my email address right down below. Let me know the deal you found, and I will follow up on that and see about making a deal. But to this day, that stripe, that 12-inch stripe, is definitely one of my grail pieces I'm looking forward to getting. Hey, Ronald, good to see you. I'm so happy to see you here. We are going to be closing up shop here in just a little bit, but I really appreciate you being here. So, folks, I think that it's nice to hear from all of you saying that this time works for you. I'll probably do a stream toward the afternoon most days. But if my family schedule lines up with doing a morning thing or doing an afternoon thing, it's really nice to know that you'll all be available. And of course, you can always watch the reruns on the Skelevator channel. Thanks so much for being here. Be sure to do the YouTube things. Click like and subscribe. Tell the algorithm that you enjoy the Skelevator channel and Skelevator content. Please be sure to tune in to Toy Frenzy this coming Thursday night. We've got a lot of fun things to talk about. And really, all of you have been in the chat. I appreciate you all for being here. And to the Patreons of the channel, thank you so much. Really appreciate you. And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and start the long goodbye. And thank you all so much for being here.